Alright, welcome. So for a long time now, I've been wanting to make videos kind of reacting to various rankings and lists that I find on the internet. And I came across this article a couple weeks ago. It seemed like the perfect opportunity to get that started. And then it sat on my phone for like 2 weeks. But hey, I love the Metal Gear franchise, and I don't know that I trust Rolling Stone's opinion on much of anything, so let's see what we got. So a pretty solid start with Metal Gear Survive. I don't think many people would argue with me on that being the worst game in the franchise. I've only played this game once. I was attempting to do a video on it. I recorded like the intro and I was so miserable just getting through that I ended up erasing that footage. It's been several months now. I haven't gone back to it. Eventually I might try to get a bit further in the game and try to do a video, but boy, what a disaster. I think it was Giant Bomb. They kind of put it best when they said that everyone was pretty much upset that this game had the Metal Gear name, but if it wasn't called Metal Gear, no one would have paid attention to it. So the thing that everyone hates about it was like necessary for its survival. Another solid choice, Snake's Revenge is the sequel to the butchered NES port. I never really played this one, although I am the proud owner of a copy of it. But going based off of Re-Rez's Just Bad Games episode on this, it's a much more action-focused Metal Gear with just bizarre logic and pretty much everything that anyone had any complaints about in the original Metal Gear. It seemed like they kind of emphasized that. Oh, you like key cards? Well, here's a whole lot more key cards. Here's extra traps that are impossible to plan for, and here's doors that don't look like any other doors, and underwater sections with very little air, and the game sounds awful. So, I can't wait to play it someday. This one throws me off, not just because he's lumping in two games into one group, but are the acid games that bad? Like, I have no real experience with them, but from what I remember, I thought they got pretty good reviews, and I know they got fans. Seems like the author's main complaint is just they're not a traditional Metal Gear experience. These were the more turn-based, card-based games, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know that they deserve to be down there with Metal Gear Survive and Snake's Revenge. Of course, then again, I'm not sure what should be down there with them because there's such a gulfing quality between those two games and the rest of the franchise. This one I completely disagree with. Metal Gear Ghost Babel, or in the US it was just called Metal Gear Solid, was a surprisingly good game. I played it for the first time last year, 2 years ago, I can't remember exactly. The gameplay is pretty similar to Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, with some features from like Metal Gear Solid, the PlayStation version. It has a pretty interesting story, some fun locations, some good boss fights. There's some frustrating sections. I hate the conveyor belts, but this was a really fun experience. Like, I'm glad I played this game, and I think it should be a lot higher on this list. The original Metal Gear. I kind of get the feeling that the author only played the console version, not the MSX version. I could be completely wrong, but he references a jungle, like exploring jungle Rambo style, or like a First Blood adventure. And I'm trying to remember the world between the buildings. I think it's more desert. So it's like, what jungle are you talking about? The NES version? But this one's kind of tough because it's super important. It's a good game, but it is aged so poorly. I mean, I'm glad I went through and played this game, but out of the franchise, it's not one that I'd be rushing back to as quickly as like Metal Gear 2 or Ghost Babel or any of the Solid games. It's fun. Every fan should play it, but it can be a bit rough. So I actually beat this game earlier this year. This one came out after the Acid games, and it was proof that you could have like a full 3D Metal Gear Solid adventure on a handheld. And it was, for the most part, it was successful. I mean, it's got its rough edges. The levels can be hit or miss. Some of them were a lot of fun to explore. Some of them were either a little bland or just a little frustrating. The stamina system's a bit rough because if you run out of stamina, you die. But it had new systems like recruitment, but you had to like drag people back to either your truck, or you had like other operatives on the map you could drag them to. There's some pretty decent boss fights, although the last boss fight was really frustrating for me. But and it was a pretty good story. Like, showed Snake meeting like Campbell and Frank Yeager. And overall, I really enjoyed this one. Now, this game should be a lot higher on the list. This game is awesome. It is such a leap over the original game. It's hard to believe they're on the same system. Like, everything improved. The graphics were better, the animations were better, the music was better, the level design was more complex, the bosses were much more interesting. There's a lot more variety in gameplay. Like, it is just, this was Hideo Kojima firing on all cylinders. Like, I love this game. It throws me off that he separated Ground Zeroes and the Phantom Pain. I mean, I know that there's like a year in between the releases, but for me personally, like, this is basically the Tanker demo. Like, this is literally the Tanker to Big Shell. But it was a good introduction to what would come with the Phantom Pains. The biggest takeaway was the significant gameplay improvements. Like, this was easily the smoothest playing Metal Gear yet. And it was such a disappointment when Konami didn't really do anything else with the Fox engine. So I'm actually currently playing Peace Walker. And so I'm still formulating my opinion of it. But so far it seems like a great game. It took a lot of the ideas from Portable Ops and improved upon them, like the recruitment system. Instead of dragging your enemy soldiers to specific locations, now you have the Fulton system. The levels were a bit more open, a bit more interesting to explore, better variety. The gameplay is definitely smoother. And the story, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm interested to see where it goes as it progresses, but it seems like one major tenet of the story is just Snake coming to terms with his feelings on the boss and the fact that his last mission for the American government was to basically kill his mentor. I'm not super surprised that this one's kind of in the middle of the pack, but personally I would have it higher. Metal Gear Solid 2 was definitely a very divisive game. A lot of people were really upset when they got to the Big Shell and found out that they were playing as Raiden instead of Snake. And then the storyline, the story got really crazy towards the end. And so it turned off a lot of people. For me personally, I don't know. I'll admit I was a little disappointed that I wasn't playing as Snake, but at the same time I thought Raiden was kind of cool. I also enjoyed when Pliskin showed up. It was kind of fun to watch Snake from like an outsider's perspective. And even back then, I was like, the storyline with like the censoring history to control the populace and everything, I'm just like, this really doesn't seem that far-fetched. So yeah, I love this game. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. The name always makes me think of a Psycho Stick album, Revenge of the Vengeance. This game, man, it's a mixed bag for me. It is a lot of fun. It actually kind of reminds me of the PlayStation 2 Shinobi game, but I hate the storyline. Like, the original version of this, it was going to take place in between Metal Gear Solid 2 and 4, where all we really know about Raiden is he becomes a cyborg ninja and he rescues Olga's daughter. So you got a lot of freedom there, but when Platinum Games took over, they're like, oh, we want more freedom. So they made it take place after 4 and basically retcon Raiden's happy ending with just kind of a dumb story. And I was like, I don't know. So I love playing the game, but the story is just garbage for me. And here we have the Phantom Pain, a bit higher than I would have it. This is another one where the game itself is a ton of fun to play. The story, there's a good story in there, it's just kind of buried. Like, there's a common theme in the Metal Gear series of like what we pass on, what we take with us and pass on to the next generation. And then this one, similar to Metal Gear Solid 2 with the whole sensory and history thing, in this one there's a virus where they're trying to erase languages and basically destroy the identity of entire groups of people. So like, there's a very Metal Gear story in there, it's just buried in the stupid tape system. Like, I want to watch a cutscene, I don't want to listen to a tape. Other problems, the world itself, like, it's fine, it's just not super interesting to explore. There's a couple fun locations, but I don't know, this is kind of a hit or miss game. Great gameplay, decent story, okay world, lackluster bosses, but fun overall. I was actually really surprised he had this game this high up. Man, I love this game, and it's, where do you begin? This game was supposed to be a culmination of the entire franchise. It was supposed to tie up so many loose ends, and there's so much story packed in there. And a lot of it's good, and some of it's a little annoying because some of the loose ends are tied up with retcon, but I mean, oh well. The gameplay was really good. There were some awesome new additions for both action and stealth. A lot of options within the world. Like, there's a war going on around you. Do you help the rebels and they might help you along the way? Or do you just hide from everyone? Like, there is so much variety in this game. And if you like cutscenes, oh buddy, this game has some cutscenes. But I adore this game. Metal Gear Solid 3 was fantastic. The relationship between Snake and the boss, the cold world, James Bond-esque atmosphere, the new survival systems, capturing an animal and then calling up paramedic for her to explain what the animal is and then get annoyed at you because all you care about is how good it tastes, the crazy bosses, the glow-in-the-dark mushrooms that recharge your batteries, the ladder that takes like a minute and a half. Like, this game is so good. And I can't argue with their number one choice. Like, I love Metal Gear Solid. It's the game that started it all for me. First time I played it, I popped it in. I just kept going, and next thing I know, oh look, the sun's come up. But this game, it elevated what I expected out of video games, especially in like cinematics and storytelling. It made me believe that video games could truly compete with movies. And it's just, I've gone back to it and beaten it so many times. It's a game that I'll always love. So it's definitely a good choice for their number one. And to end this, I think I'm gonna give my rankings. It just seems fair. I'm not going to rank the Acid games because I have like no experience with them, so it seems weird to try to shove them in anywhere. But I would say starting with Survive, then Snake's Revenge, probably the original Metal Gear. I mean, I don't like having it that low, but honestly, it's probably aged worse than any of the other games. Not surprising, it's the first game in the franchise, but it's a game I think every Metal Gear fan should experience, but I don't think it's one that everyone's going to be rushing back to as much as the other games in the franchise. Portable Ops, really good game, had a lot of great ideas, but didn't quite flesh out those ideas as well as the next couple games in this series. I don't know. Maybe Rising Revengeance. The game is so much fun to play, but that story, like if I'm just going pure gameplay, it'd be a lot higher on the list. Total package. The the bosses are kind of hit or miss. I suppose they're at least fun to fight against, but the story is garbage. Say Peace Walker next, I guess. It's kind of it's a much better, in some ways it's a much better version of Portable Ops. It takes a lot of the ideas, greatly refines them, and improves on the gameplay. Yeah, basically it seems like a much better version of Portable Ops. Let's see, after that I would say Ghost Babel. Actually, I really enjoyed Ghost Babel. I was actually surprised at how much I enjoyed that game. Next would be, say, Phantom Pain, I guess. I pretty much, like I said in the listing, like, there's great gameplay and a decent story buried in there. The world, it's not a bad open world, it's just not great. There's not much in there that's like super memorable. But overall, it's a very fun game. I will say, part of the main story, the whole Phantom Snake thing, is pointless because the question of how you fight Big Boss twice in the first two Metal Gear games, it's answered in the first two Metal Gear games, where he shows up and like, oh look, he's a cyborg, and that's kind of a common thing in this franchise. So it was an unneeded twist, but still a very fun game with some great moments. I'd say next would be Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. That game, I love it. It's fantastic. And then, here's where it gets really hard for me. My numbers 1 through 4 are Metal Gear Solid 1 through 4, and depending on the day, I would have them in a different order. Like, I argue with myself back and forth of how I would place them. At any given time, I could make an argument for any one of them being my favorite. So, for the sake of just having a ranking, we'll say 4, 1, 2, 3. So, sure, there's my ranking. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you had as much fun as I did. And until next time, dear friends, till next time.